Hello everyone, Curious Corduroy here, and today we're going to be checking out a video that I've been wanting to react to here on the channel for quite some time now, and it's a video that I hold very close to my heart. I watch it every once in a while just so I know what it's like to feel things again, and that is the 2019 E3 presentation for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, as I'm filming this, it is the week of Thanksgiving. I'm very thankful for this 7 Remake trilogy, and I wanted to go back and just rewatch this video that makes me so happy, and just kind of see how things were different back then, what were we kind of ruminating on. It's such a cool video, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to check it out, which is what we're going to do in today's video. Alright, so before we jump into the video, just to set the mood, adding some context, at this point in time, being a Final Fantasy VII fan sucked because we got our first reveal of this remake in 2015 with the reveal trailer, and I believe that same year we had the PlayStation Experience, which gave us like the first real gameplay trailer. And then in early 2016, I believe Nomura did some interviews with Famitsu. We got some screenshots of the game, and again, this was the CyberConnect 2 version of the game. And from what I remember, if I can find those screenshots in that article, I'll put them in this video, but what CyberConnect 2 had envisioned for the bombing run was very different. I think it was more stealth oriented. I remember there were screenshots of like hiding behind cover and being able to throw items. It was really different. But after that, they would pretty much go radio silent until 2019. They did release some key art in between then, which funny enough, back then, that key art, none of us picked up on it. It would signify the change that this project was experiencing. No longer was CyberConnect 2 developing it, it was now brought in-house at Square Enix. Cloud, he looks completely different. City of Midgar is also redesigned. They gave us Sephiroth with the black wing, which was massive foreshadowing, but that just went over all of our heads. We're like, oh, well, they did that in Advent Children. Maybe that's why they just want to show off Sephiroth with the black wing. No, there's some story implications there. But it wasn't until May of 2019 when we got that state of play and they gave us the first like revamped trailer for 7 Remake, which then led into this presentation, which just, I remember watching this back when it came out. I couldn't help but smile for the entirety of the 21 minutes that this thing was going on. It was like the happiest I'd felt in a long time, which sounds very pathetic, but to be such a big fan of 7 Remake, and we were all just so worried, like, what the heck are they doing, man? And around this time, to be fair, a lot of people were very cynical about this project, rightfully so. Square Enix at that time didn't have the greatest track record, and even when that state of play happened, we got that trailer, they started releasing info dumps of like, yeah, we're nearing the end of development. A lot of us out there were like, are you sure about that? Are you really sure? Nomura, you do take a long time for these games to come out. Square's not doing so great. Are you guys really, really sure? And then we got this presentation, and then we got consistent info dumps and trailers after that, and it's like, oh crap, they're really doing it. It's really happening. The impossible game is coming out. So enough of my blabbering. Let's watch the video. Ow, my finger's caught in my headphones. Oh, my finger. I almost lost my finger just there. Oh my god. The downside to being a self-employed YouTuber, you don't have workman's comp. I almost lost my digit. I go through a lot of pain for these videos. Let's start. Oh my god, this is such a cool presentation. Development footage subject to change. A lot of things did change. Let's turn up that volume just a little bit. All right, should be loud enough. Man, this was such a cool time. Such a cool time. This reveal, the OG menu screen, new game, continue, remake? It's so good, dude. Ah. Oh? Huh? Nice. This is so cool. I hope they do something similar for part 3. Maybe, well, no, we don't have E3 anymore. It'd have to be at like Summer Game Fest. This was the first look at like the redesign of everything. And there is so much context to this one shot. now that we know where the game is progressing in terms of the story. Oh man. It looks so good! There's Cloud. That's how Cloud's supposed to look. The material's lit up on his Buster Sword. My god. I feel like a kid again when I watch this. The same exact emotions I had from OG FF7. This remake trilogy just gives me the same thing. He looks so much better here than he did in the CyberConnect version. And Barrett. Oh my god. Very quickly. I'll put the screenshot in this video. Barrett in the CyberConnect 2 version of this game looks insanely weird. He's really tall, but he's kind of lean, and he's got no neck. He's walking around like this. You better be worth every gil, Burke. And he's got no neck. It's so weird. And then you see him in here, he looks so good. All the characters look so good in this in-house Square stuff compared to what CyberConnect was doing. It's so strange.
Please welcome Yoshinori Kitase, producer, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I'm with Stark. Was this around the time of Captain America Civil War? I was more of a Captain America fan. Producer. There we go.
22年間の時を経て、あのキャラクターたちが非常に美しく、さらに魅力的になって帰ってきました。
I am very happy to be able to introduce this long-beloved title once again. After 22 years, the familiar characters we love have returned while becoming more beautiful and captivating than ever before.
今まで応援し続けてくださっているファンの皆さん、長年のサポートありがとうございます。
Finger still hurts.
お待たせいたしました。新たなる冒険へと共に踏み出すことを
I got these weird ass clamps here on my headphones, and my finger got caught in there and it bent down and it was stuck in between the metal part and the actual ear cup. I could have died.
FF7 をリメイクするにあたって、ファイナルファンタジー7の世界観やキャラクターたちをより深く今回は描いております。ファイナルファンタジー7リメイクプロジェクトの最初の作品となる本作では、ミッドガルのストーリーを広大にかつ緻密に語っております。またゲームデザインも今作用に最適化しておりまして、ブルーレイ2枚組相当のボリュームを見込んでおります。一本の独立したゲームとして十分期待に応える作品になっております。
Remaking Final Fantasy VII has allowed us to dive much deeper into the world and its characters than ever before. The game design was optimized for this title as well, and we anticipate 2 Blu-ray discs worth of gameplay content.
You want to get people excited? Talk about the number of discs.
The first game in this project expands on the story of Midgar and is such an elaborate retelling that it has become a solid standalone game in its own right.
Yeah, and like even before I was making YouTube videos talking about Final Fantasy Trust, I was absorbing all of these videos, all the content, all the interviews, Famitsu stuff that was then later translated. I was keeping up with it because like this is one of my favorite games of all time. And even back then, I'm like, yeah, you gotta do, if you're gonna do like a big scale Final Fantasy, and I have video evidence of me saying this for people who don't believe me, on the channel, mind you. When you really think about it, episodic is probably the way they're gonna have to go with this game. Now, yes, Square could screw this up royally. Some people are already saying they have just by releasing it episodic, but when you have to take into account what Square is dealing with, the episodic nature starts to make more sense because this is a huge game. The reason why they said years ago that they weren't ever going to do a remake is because they didn't have the manpower or the technology really to do it, because it would have taken them a very, very long time. I'm like, yeah, the first part should just be Midgar. If you really want to flesh out the characters more, the area of Midgar, just have that be the first game. So it made sense, and I really like, again, that this is a trilogy. I've seen some people out there, and you're allowed to feel this way, but I've seen some people who say like, oh, it's a cash grab. It doesn't need to be 3 parts. It should have and could have been 1 game. Personally, I take issue with the word cash grab because the literal definition of cash grab is something that is made quick and fast and has no quality. It's rushed just to make money. I played 7 Remake. I've played Rebirth. You can dislike those games all you want. That's totally cool. Again, I understand why people don't like them, but these are quality games. And to say that they're not, I think is a bit disingenuous and a little uncalled for. But for me, if you're going to do justice to the story and to the characters and really take your time to flesh things out, doing a trilogy just makes the most sense. And I've said this so much in old videos, I apologize for being a broken record. But if this game was one single game on the scale of what they're doing now, it either would not be out yet and people would be complaining, or it would have come out and it would have had some very severe cuts to the story, to character development, to gameplay. It just would have been a mess. And either way, those people would not have been happy. So it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. And again, I've said there's really no way you can please 100% of the Final Fantasy fan base with what you put out. It's just, it's impossible. So I like what they're doing, personally.
ゲームプレイで、ファンの方の期待を決して裏切らない皆さんのね、よく知っているFF7 に再会できることとなります。
Through the content we are about to unveil today, and through all that we have yet to unveil, we will not disappoint your expectations.
Dude, I was so hyped waiting for this the night it happened.
それと同時にですね、当時を知らないゲームファンの方は、全く新しいね、ファイナルファンタジーと出会うことになります。
To newcomers who never played the original, we present to you a completely new Final Fantasy and a perfect starting point to explore the world of Final Fantasy VII.
And that's exactly what 7 Remake is. I see, again, this is anecdotal. I see so many new people who are getting into Final Fantasy for the very first time because of 7 Remake. So it's a really great gateway for a lot of people, which leads them to Rebirth, to 16, to experiencing the older Final Fantasies. So this game so far has done a really great job, I think, of bringing in new people. Obviously, when it's a trilogy, there might be some people who are hesitant. They might want to wait. I've gotten these comments on my channel of people who are like, I'm waiting for part 3 to come out and then I'm going to play everyone. So it's ups and downs, but this game has really brought in a lot of people, and it really does help grow your audience.
Please welcome Neil Pabon, Senior Manager, Product Marketing.
Neil, the ATB guy. This dude came out with his cool leather jacket. I wonder if he still works for Square.
So, Neil is here to introduce
Look
you
at this
and
dude.
walk you through gameplay.
Absolute Chad. Also, I do want to acknowledge, because the past videos I had released on my YouTube channel were recorded ahead of time. I never got a chance to talk about the Square layoffs, which sucks so much, man. Especially before the holidays, but it's primarily hitting their Western division. So in London specifically, they were hit pretty hard. I believe close to 140 employees were being laid off. I believe people here in the US side of things as well. And I get that they got to go through restructuring, but man, it just sucks to see people lose their jobs at this company. And I saw some very strange takes online of like, well, they're not developers, so it doesn't matter. But the thing is, while they may not be developers, those people did work a lot in media, specifically like localization, helping with the localization, helping with marketing, doing things like media outreach, which is vital for getting your game out there. So whenever there would be an event here in America or in Europe where they would invite content creators or game journalists out to preview these games and get to play them and get hands-on time, that's part of media outreach, which is really important. And without that, you kind of only have just the Japanese side of things to rely on, and you got to wait for people to translate that, and then you got to get their impressions. So that stuff is very, very important. And with people being laid off and a lot of those areas at Square being thinned out, it does make me concerned about marketing in the future, because there might be a situation where they don't bring these games to America or Europe for like promo purposes and preview events as consistently as they have been. So it just really sucks, man. And I just hope that the people who are laid off find their footing and are able to, you know, get jobs in similar fields. It gets even ickier because shortly after that, there was an article released by VGC where Square Enix partnered with a Tokyo university to experiment or research, I believe, the idea of using generative AI in QA. And that leads to Square Enix saying by the end of 2027, they want 70% of their QA team led by generative AI. So that would leave 30% human people there. And I just think that's a really bad idea, man. That's gonna backfire because AI and generative AI, it can only look for what it's trained to look for, right? AI doesn't have the experience or the knowledge or unpredictability that a human being does. A human could be like, you know what, I'm gonna run, I'm gonna jump off of this cliff in exactly 2.34 seconds after I jump, I'm gonna pull out a weapon and do a combo. And then right before I hit the ground, I'm gonna pause the game and see what happens. AI isn't gonna do that, and I think it's gonna lead to a pretty big backlog of issues that the AI misses, that your human people then have to stop what they're doing and go and look at. So it's a mess, man. Square Enix just, they seem to fall into these, bubbles that are gonna burst. Yosuke Matsuda was all about NFTs and blockchain and trying to incorporate live service stuff. And now you've got Takashi Kiryu, who has been doing some good stuff with the multi-platform approach, but this whole incorporation of AI, it's just a bad idea, man. I don't like it. Long story short, I don't know if Neil is still there.
All right, everyone, let's mosey.
That's right, Neil.
Final Fantasy VII Remake features a hybrid gameplay system that merges real-time action with strategic command-based combat.
Yeah.
For starters, each press of the square button is a swing of Cloud's Buster Sword. Cloud attacks, dodges, and blocks all in real time.
So cool, man. I love the details in this combat
damage,
system.
But they barely scratch the surface of Cloud's true potential.
So cool.
Succeeding on the battlefield requires much more than just hacking and slashing. Cloud needs to be tactical. He needs ATB.
You said it, Neil.
2 ATB bars are displayed in the lower right. These fill up slowly over time, but fill much faster as Cloud lands standard attacks.
One of the cool things about looking at older footage is like seeing how different things like the font are. This is not the font they use in the final game. Not for like labeling enemies. I think it's also a little bit different down here for some of your commands in the UI. I love little stuff like that.
Once an ATB bar is full, you can enter tactical mode.
This is so
where
sick.
Time slows to a crawl, and you have the opportunity to choose actions from the command menu. Katase-san, I've had the pleasure of seeing quite a bit of the game, but tactical mode never gets old for me. I could just sit here all day long and watch this beautiful slow motion action.
Me too, Neil.
観客の皆さんはね、おそらくね、他の部分ももう少し見たいのではないかと思いますが、皆さんいかがでしょう。
I think the audience would like to see more. Isn't that right, everyone?
Again, I've talked about the combat system ad nauseum. I won't do it again. I know you guys are tired of it, but I really love it. It keeps the essence and the spirit of what the original game was, even incorporating some of like the active versus passive stuff you had in OG FF7, but the command-based menu with that tactical mode married with the real-time action and the ATB, it's such a cool system. Teruki Endo, dude is just like such a cool dude. He's got an incredible brain for this stuff, and to see some of those Capcom isms kind of creep their way into a Final Fantasy, I think is so cool, because he worked previously at Capcom on things like Monster Hunter. I believe he was the combat lead on, was it World? One of the previous Monster Hunter games. It's such a cool system.
Yeah?
Well, once in tactical mode, you can choose to perform various abilities, such as Cloud's Braver attack. Using an item in battle will deplete an ATB charge, and if Cloud has the right materia equipped and enough MP, he can use ATB charges to cast spells.
So cool.
Of course, this being a remake, we're sure to see
Barrett,
some familiar.
he looks so good, man. Again, that CyberConnect 2 version of Barrett, oh boy, he was looking rough.
Your faces. With the use of his iconic gun arm, Barrett is able to target enemies at a distance. Barrett's standard attacks generate ATB charges similar to Cloud, but his abilities are entirely different.
So cool, man.
Switching between characters in combat is done with a single button press, which makes rotating through party members.
And even in this one, Barrett
Speaking
still has
party
less of a
members,
neck,
Katase-san,
but he's proportioned
when are we
better.
going to see Tifa in action?
Maybe soon.
All right. Characters will continue to fight even when you're not controlling them directly,
Yeah.
but it's up to you to choose how and when ATB charges are used.
One criticism I had of Remake, which they kind of addressed in Rebirth, was that I wanted my AI people when I'm not using them to be a little bit more aggressive, because sometimes they wouldn't be as active as I would like them to be. And in Rebirth, they improved upon that. They are more active in battle. They're really good with like the perfect parries. So I wouldn't mind them just upping the dial just a little bit to make them just a little bit more aggressive for part 3, but not too crazy.
You can maximize your effectiveness by switching between characters or issuing commands to characters with full ATB bars.
Wow.
Every enemy has a focus gauge that fills up as you do damage.
And they pulled this
When the
from
gauge
Final
is
Fantasy
full,
12,
the enemy
not
becomes
12,
staggered,
13,
and you'll
the
deal
stagger
bonus
system.
damage.
They pulled the slowdown pause time from 12, stagger from 13.
Tactical mode evokes the command selections from the original Final Fantasy VII.
Yes, it
and
does.
allows players to enjoy battle while taking the time to think strategically.
I love it.
For players who prefer fast-paced action, abilities
Shortcuts
and
are
spells can be
sick.
bound to shortcuts for immediate execution. Shortcuts make combat extremely dynamic, but the choice of using them is entirely up to you. Right, Katase-san?
そうですね、プレイスタイルに合わせて楽しめるゲームになっておりますので、ぜひご期待ください。
That's right. The game has been made so that you can choose how to play. I hope players get excited about this.
Wake up, crowd!
Well, that's a brief introduction to combat in Final Fantasy VII Remake, and we look forward to showing you a whole lot more in the coming months.
Man.
For now,
The attention to
let's see how
detail
Cloud
and
and
the
Barret do
animations,
against
the
a more
particle effects.
formidable foe.
It's so cool. The art direction in these games is so good. And then seeing this fight, man. Oh, dude.
You double-crossing!
It was also our first time hearing the new cast, and they've knocked it out of the park.
Hey, how the hell do we fight this thing?
It's got reinforced armor plating, but the internals can be overloaded. Lightning magic.
Cool. Now, even the damage numbers, I think, are different in terms of their font.
Should I be worried?
It's so cool, man.
It's on you.
Guess it's my turn.
And I love how they made all of the boss battles feel cinematic. It works for most of them. There's the stuff with Dyne and Rebirth, which, you know, I love everything leading up to Dyne's altercation with Barret. And even some of the stuff afterwards where, like, Barret just has this really heartfelt moment of just grieving Dyne. I think there are valid criticisms, though, of how that's paced, because Barret gets to grieve, he gets time to mourn, but us as the player, we're immediately thrust into another boss battle. So after you beat Palmer, it's like, okay, we gotta go, go, go. But you still get a really, really great moment between Cloud and Barret where they connect, and Cloud is so genuine, and he's like, look, man, you're not alone. We got you. So I understand the criticisms there. I would agree with them. Another consistent one is in Cosmo Canyon after Nanaki learns the truth about Seto. There's a brief beat where the player and the party kind of take in what's just happened. Barret puts on his sunglasses, and then Gina Tak shows up. So you don't really have time to let that moment breathe. And I think what they could have done was kind of how they did it, if I remember correctly, in the OG, where that happens, and then the party is outside around the campfire just talking. I think you still could have done that, and then you could have had Gina Tak show up at the campfire, lead them back into the cave. Because there's just some moments that do need time to breathe. But also, I've seen this type of pacing in TV and film all the time where something big happens and they don't want the audience to have time to really process it until a later moment. So I think those are valid criticisms that I would agree with. But other than that, I think they've done an incredible job with a lot of the big story stuff and the big boss battles. Some of them, just like Dyne, you know, probably should have been more low-key. I think the first half of that battle with Dyne is probably how the entire fight should have been. Something slower, quieter, a little bit more intimate.
Going all out.
I love the banter. This is making me want to play Remake again.
A barrier? Never seen this defense system before.
Thought you were the expert.
So what's your brilliant plan, genius?
That moment was so important for fans. Sorry, I keep stopping and starting. That's how my videos are. It's annoying. I'm sorry. But that moment back there, with Cloud being a smartass, that moment reassured so many fans of like, oh, they get it. The developers understand these characters again, because in the compilation of Final Fantasy VII, a lot of the characterization of these characters changed. Cloud, I like Cloud's characterization in Advent Children. I think it makes sense where he's at in the story, what he's dealing with. It makes sense for him because he's dealing with trauma and PTSD, survivor's guilt, depression, but he's also got geoligma, so he is now dealing with all of that stuff. And at the end of FF7, Tifa helps him put his mind back together, but he never really has a moment to process everything that he's been going through until Advent Children. So I like that version of Cloud. It makes sense for him to be that way. But at the end of the movie, he kind of reverts back to how he used to be. He makes it through some really tough stuff, and he smiles again. But when they use Cloud again in things like Kingdom Hearts, Dissidia, they tend to pull from like the pre-Advent Children Cloud, where he's really sad and depressed, and that kind of became Cloud's character for a long time. It's the same with Aerith, which we talked about in a recent video, where she was kind of depicted as this ethereal being, this gentle goddess, when in reality she was this fiery, spunky slum person who, you know, wasn't afraid to speak her mind. So seeing how they handled it here, this let people know Cloud's back. They understand how Cloud should be written, they understand the banter, and that extends even past the characters and into tone, which, again, there's been talk lately in the past month or so about tone and how the developers don't understand the tone and how it's been ruined. And again, if you don't like the tone of the remake trilogy, I get it. You're allowed to feel that way, but I think Maximilian Dude was spot on when he talked about this recently. Looking back at OG FF7, yes, it can be dark, it can be serious, it can be dour, but it can also be incredibly beautiful and poignant, but it can also be really silly and goofy and over the top. And there are some people out there that are running with this narrative, this almost like revisionist history kind of idea of the OG FF7 was only dark, it was only serious, and there was no levity, which isn't true. The game is super light. There's a lot of silly stuff that happens in the OG game. But getting back to the point Max made is that the original FF7 is very earnest, and he's 100% right. It's silly, it's goofy, it's earnest. It's a game which has a story and characters that wears its heart on its sleeve. It's very endearing. And that stuff nowadays, because of how the internet has warped things, is viewed as a bad thing. People view that stuff as cringy. So when someone makes a video where they're like pouring their heart out or being earnest about something they really like, sometimes people will react in the way of, oh, that's embarrassing, that's cringy. So I can understand why people would think that, but like, I grew up with this. I grew up with everything pre-internet 2025, so I was used to the very endearing, charming stuff, and that's what FF7 is. And that's the beauty of FF7, is that its tone, again, can be dark and serious. It can also be very beautiful and eloquent, but it can also be very silly and goofy, and I think that's what makes this game work so well. So, personally, I love the tone of the remake trilogy. It's the same tone from the original game, and I'm tired. Look, Cloud just being a smartass. Great line delivery from Cody. Oh no, Cloud. This is cool too, man. Imagine, like, I was thinking about this a long time ago. Of like, imagine this game with a multiplayer mode. And I think I made a video talking about that. Also, weird spot to put a weak point. It's the butthole. That's a very weird spot. But if I can find the video, I think I made it a couple years ago. I talked about how it'd be cool to see the remake trilogy, maybe with part 3, I think is what I said, incorporate a multiplayer mode. Because at that time, Ever Crisis had incorporated their own co-op mode, where you could go online, partner up with 2 other people, and fight bosses. And granted, Ever Crisis is turn-based, but I think you could do a very similar thing with the remake trilogy and have a co-op mode where you go online, you partner up with 2 other people, and you just do boss battles, or you fight waves of enemies. I think that could be really fun. You might have to tweak some stuff like the tactical mode. You might have to get rid of the slowdown, because I don't know if you'd be able to find a way to slow down one character while all the other players are still doing stuff in real time, unless it's like a weird thing where your character freezes in the moment, but everything is still happening in real time around them. I don't know if that would work. You might have to have it be real time, so it'd be more Kingdom Hearts-ish, but man, this game with co-op would be so sick. It's such a cool combat system, and being able to play with other people online just fighting bosses, that'd be sick, man. If I can find the video, I'll link it in this one. It's very old though, so it might be like cringy. It might be poorly put together. I might also sound way different. That's so cool, man.
Take him down.
I love these cinematic moments. It's so cool. It also acts as a really cool transition into the next phase of each fight. 16 did something similar, but they did QTEs.
Need to heal up soon. Watch the tail. You don't want to be hit by that laser.
Fixed translation.
What do we do?
Hide.
Take cover behind that debris.
Hide behind the debris.
Knock on this.
Strike now before it fires again.
This is such a great opening for this game. It's got everything you'd want. Great character stuff, cool combat, high octane, great music.
Hey, it's doing that thing again.
Find cover and hunker down.
Again and again and again.
These transitions out of cutscene are so cool, man.
An auto repair unit. Damn it. We gotta take it out quickly with Snoopy.
I love those little details too in the animations where Cloud blocks the blast and it pushes him back a little bit.
Taking over.
Old school Punisher mode.
Going in. You're as good as dead.
Moving through those menus quick.
You hear that? Damn thing showed you how it's done.
Come on. We got it.
And then of course you gotta give Nomura One-Winged Angel. It's
Welcome,
fitting.
Tetsuya Nomura, director, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
So if I remember correctly, it was Nomura as lead director, Hamaguchi was co-director, and I think Toriyama was also in there too, because Nomura is a busy dude.
Nomura-san, it is an absolute honor to have
So
you.
I'm very curious to see how much
Kitachi-san, how do you feel working with Nomura-san
or
once
how
again on Final Fantasy VII?
hands-on he was with
彼
Remake.
はですね、原作の FF7 以降、何作もね一緒にねその後も仕事はしてるんですけども、今作のようにね再びねディレクション、キャラクターデザイナー、そしてねストーリーとねがっつり。
And again, these interpreters, man, they got a lot of work to do, and they do a great job.
全く変わらない熱量でね今作でも取り組んでいる姿を見てね、私も正直ね喜んでいます。
Since the original Final Fantasy VII, I've worked with him on many titles, but it has been a while since we've actually had him work so heavily on a project like this, from the direction to character
Everyone's got
design
their
to the
phones
story.
out.
And I'm really happy to see him working on this title with the same passion that he had 22 years ago.
はい、
Nomura-san, コメントどうぞ。
はい、 今まで結構長い間お待たせしましたが、
Hear all the cameras going off, people taking photos.
ファンの皆様、本当にありがとうございました。そしてですね、皆さん今日初めて、プレイ画面を結構長めに見たと思いますが、おそらく想像してたものとは少し違ったんじゃないかなと、思っております。
So first and foremost, we wanted to extend our gratitude to those who have been waiting so patiently and have been supporting us for such a long time until now. And also, we've taken a look at gameplay right now, and we've fairly showed you a good bit.
でですね、
It's been 87
皆
years.
さんぜひ触れてみたいんじゃないかなと思いましてですね、実際に、触ってみたいですかね。
And I was wondering, do you guys want to actually play the game?
I thought they were going to release a demo online.
ということでですね、明日から開催されます E3 のですね、スクエアエニックスブースの方で、7リメイク、プレイアブル出展していますので、ぜひ機会のある方は
Everyone heard the words. E3 booth,
So we actually have
7
global
remake,
demo
and playable.
kiosks available at the Square Enix E3 booth.
The trailer they're about to show is a very good trailer. I think it appeals to people who are familiar with 7, but I think it also appeals to people who know nothing about 7. If there's a criticism I have of Rebirth's trailers, it feels like it aimed a little too much at the hardcore fans and maybe didn't feel as accessible to a general audience, but this trailer I think is like so well done. Man, dude. Just get chills all over again.
These sewer rats appear to call themselves Avalanche, sir.
Seeing the bike for the first time. Oh, it's so cool.
You can have it for saving my life. You think he's a keeper?
Oh my god. Y'all gotta look at the bigger picture here. Nothing worth fighting for was ever won without sacrifice.
Help me!
Yeah, these trailers, that's a good way to put it. These trailers are more linear. The Rebirth trailers are a little bit more obtuse. There's Tifa. That was our first, like, smidge of Tifa. That audience reaction, man. She looks so good. Like, there was some people complaining. I love the way she looks.
You're having second thoughts.
I love the character so much.
I know we have to think big if we're going to make a difference. But not like this. I feel trapped.
I love the redesign all the characters got. They still look like the original characters. They're just kind of updated. And Tifa, I thought, looked phenomenal. It's gotten to the point where I actually prefer her remake look over her original look. I like the two-toned with the black and the white, and then she's got like the stockings on. She looks sick. There were some people who were not happy because apparently her boobs were not big enough, and they felt that they were censoring the character by adding a sports bra, which I don't know anything about that territory, but I just think she looks super cool. Just from a character standpoint, I like that they added more black to her outfit. It makes sense from like a realistic standpoint of like needing support while also being a martial artist, but she looks so cool.
My turn.
And then seeing her in combat, she's a straight up fighting game character. It's just so cool, man. And then you got the turtles popping up.
Get going.
It's so cool, man. And then seeing all of this, man, like, once this trailer hit, it's like, wow, they're really far in development. And the game at that point was like 9 months away with a delay. The Airbuster, such a cool fight. Love the music in that fight.
You're not real. You're clown.
He looks so evil.
Favor to ask of you. Run away. You have to leave. You have to live. You bastard! Yeah!
So interestingly enough,
Hold on to that hatred.
that line delivery from Tyler, not in the final game. It's very different in the final game. Here, he actually has a little bit more emotion in how he's saying that to Cloud. You have to leave, you have to live. In the full game, he's a little bit more darker with how he says it. He's more stoic as he delivers that line. So it's kind of cool to hear some of the original takes they had that didn't make it into the final product. The moment this presentation ended, I went and pre-ordered the deluxe edition. I didn't get this edition because, oh boy, was it expensive. And I'm like, I love it. I ain't got that kind of money. But I got the deluxe edition. I ran into my kitchen to warm up some cup noodles because I was hungry and I was excited. And I went to Amazon and I saw that deluxe edition and I'm like, pre-order immediately. So I pre-ordered the game in advance, like 9 months. But like, this is such a cool presentation, man. Just going back and seeing like how excited we all were leading up to it and how nervous people were because this was a project that was taking forever. And, you know, Square Enix's track record at that time, again, was not a good one. So people, rightfully so, were cynical and very much apprehensive. And even the lead up to the game coming out, people were still kind of apprehensive about how they were feeling about it. But like, for them to go so dark and then come back with this, and it's like, oh, okay, like they're doing it for real. So it's a good thing that Square Enix brought that game back in-house. I don't know how the CyberConnect 2 version would have turned out. I don't think the gameplay would have been as good because they probably wouldn't have brought in Teruki Endo, who, you know, gave us this combat system. So it's in good hands now. Again, I love what they're doing with the Remake Trilogy. I know there are people out there that don't like it. Totally cool. I love it. I love that we're getting this, and I'm just super grateful and thankful that we have this. There could be a universe where this doesn't happen. There could be a universe where this comes out and it's absolutely awful. So it's just nice to get back to, you know, those happier moments, those more exciting moments where, you know, the internet wasn't as like cynical or just kind of down on the Remake Trilogy. This is getting back to just like a more pure time where we were all just checking out what was going to be. And oh boy, we didn't know how big of a journey this was going to turn into. This was back in 2019. Part 3 maybe we'll release in early 2027. Man, these games have come a long way. And I just think it's so cool revisiting this specific presentation. It's one of my favorites. Again, I like to go back to this from time to time because it's just such a cool first like official proper reveal for what 7 Remake was going to end up being. And it's awesome. It's so cool to watch. So I've always just wanted to sit down and react to this video proper and put it up on here and just kind of reminisce, relive all the member berries that I had. And again, we're getting kind of close to the Game Awards and we're all kind of hoping maybe something 7 Remake Part 3 could get teased there. And I think if they were to tease a trailer at the Game Awards, it might be something more in line with what we got at this State of Play slightly before this, where they showed off a decent amount of gameplay, some cutscenes, some character work and combat. I think that's what we could end up getting with our first official look at Remake Part 3. Is something more in line with what the trailer presented at State of Play gave us. So either way, man, I'm excited. Let me know in the comments down below, how are you feeling in the lead up to this specific presentation? Do you remember where you were, what you were doing? I remember what I was wearing. I had a red t-shirt on. I had shorts because it was during the summer. I was watching WWE Raw while I was waiting for this presentation to go live. I just remember so much stuff. It's just, let me know in the comments down below. I'm Curious Corduroy. I will see you guys in the next video. Please remember to always be excellent to one another. My finger.